So, Tom, the recently released Fundraising Effectiveness Project report for Q4 2022 showed a decline in giving last year in 2022. And so this report shows the leading cause of donor decline is coming from a reduction in new donors. That new donors that were gained in 2021 didn't give again at the same rate in 2022. And this brings the overall retention rate in 2022 down to the lowest rate on record. So, with all of this news, what do you suppose organizations ought to take away from this, and what can they do on a practical level?
Yeah, I'm thinking, Julie, that some of this is just natural causes, forces, physics. In other words, we had this extraordinary event. An asteroid hit the planet. It was called the pandemic. And that changed a lot of things, the dynamics of society. And people who still had money, Mark Phillips found this in his research over in the UK. People who had an income, so they weren't worried about their economic future, not only continued to give to charity, they gave more because they understood. I mean, it was in the news all the time, and they could see it in their own world that people were suffering. Now, we are officially, I wouldn't say authentically, past the pandemic, but so people kind of, okay, we can relax a little bit now. The job market, for instance, in the US, people can't find enough people to work for them. Wages are going up, so forth and so on. So the other thing I think has happened, and this was not pandemic related, it's just been happening over the last 15, 20 years, is that there are more and more charities all the time. And in the United States, the number of those charities has doubled. I think it's something like the last 15 years. So that's a reflection of the number of problems we have, because charities tend to be problem solvers. And I think people are just kind of, it's hard to choose anymore. So I think the forces are, we have too many charities, not enough households who are kind of in the habit of giving, and it's just we're at that point. But this is not a time for despair. It's a time to sharpen up what you're doing, and so much of that can be done through your communications work.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and better stewardship. I was looking back and see that, Dr. Adrienne Sargent has been saying for a number of years that like a 10% increase in your retention rate would,
Right.
Double the lifetime value of your donors. So, nonprofits need to think about what strategies are working, or what strategies can they do to, improve their retention rate. Right? Like maybe like, a second gift strategy. You get a new donor and you call them, right? Or you get a new donor and you send them on a journey, like in a welcome email sequence where you tell them, how wonderful they are, and show them immediately the impact that they're creating, and provide other opportunities for engagement. So what do you think about that?
Well, no, that's been true, always has been true. We didn't quite realize it until relationship fundraising from Ken Burnett came out in the 90s, and then Adrienne Sargent and Chang, other people like Penelope Burke came along and said, yeah, you really need to focus a little bit more on not treating your donors as bank accounts. And that's proven to be the case. We have seen frequently organizations can double their giving over a 12, 16-month period simply by liking their donors more.
I like more.
Where we are now is, retention, first of all, why are we chasing monthly giving so hard? It's because it solves the second gift problem. And we do know, and this was, I think, in the fundraising effectiveness project, that that getting that second gift is really, really tough. 7 or 8 out of 10 first-time donors do not make a second gift. So you stirred them once, but for some reason you're not stirring them more than once. Now, if you bring them on as a monthly donor, problem solved until their credit card expires.
Right. So when they're a new donor, there's like a reason they decided to give, right? They're excited. So we kind of want to like capture that excitement and not go dark on them.
Yeah. And with certain kinds of fundraising, like peer-to-peer fundraising, where I'm asking my friends to, let's say, sponsor me in a 5K crawl because I wouldn't be doing a run, then those people are giving because of me. I ask them. They're not giving necessarily for the cause. They may understand the cause, they may appreciate the cause and so forth, but it doesn't mean they're emotionally linked to the cause. They're emotionally linked to me. So those people are kind of, that you have to work much harder to keep a peer-to-peer donor. You can do it, but it's, it's hard work.
Right. And in the case that you just mentioned, the relationship that the nonprofit wants to really work on is that peer-to-peer fundraiser, because that fundraiser who decided to do the run and to go to their friends and say, hey, would you mind, giving me $25 for this? That's your true believer.
Yeah, the person doing the run. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.